Hello and welcome to Pisces Moon Astrology. I'm your astrologer, Kait Leonard, and I'm excited to explore the stars with you. Hi everyone, welcome to the week of April 13th through the 19th. Let's get ready to talk about Neptune. Okay, so to get us started, and yes, I'm just going to say it this one time, you know I don't like Neptune, but I'm going to try to be fair here. Yeah, I'm going to try. Anywho, the big event this week is on the 16th. Mercury and Neptune meet up together. They form a conjunction in fiery Aries. So this is going to be quite a big deal. That's the big thing I'm going to focus on this week. It's a lot about creativity. It's a lot about confusion. Yeah, I think it's mostly about confusion, but we'll talk. And then on April 19th, Mars is going to form a trine, which is a harmonious aspect to Neptune. Neptune's in Aries, a Mars-ruled sign. So this is kind of interesting, and I can probably be a little nicer about the whole Neptune energy when we get toward the end of the week. So before we get there, let me give you some other dates that might be of interest to you, and I'm going to try to get these in order. This is like the third time that I've tried to record this. So on the 13th, we're going to get the exact trine between Mars and Mercury. So this is expect empowered communication and ideas. On the 14th, we get the harmonious aspect between Uranus, that's rebellion, independence, breaking free, and unexpected events, making that harmonious aspect to the lunar nodes, which is fate, karma, destiny. So be ready for what we don't know, but it will be big and it will be important. All week, Mars will be in a close square to the sun. So feeling the need to defend ourselves is likely to come up. Just be aware of that. That's going to be basically all week long. And keep in mind that on the 18th, Mars will move into Leo. This is good in the long run and problematic in the short run. So Mars has been in a sign where he's really uncomfortable. He's been in Cancer. Moving into Leo for Mars, both fiery energies, that's a really, really good thing. But first off, he's going to be moving into that exact opposition to Pluto in Aquarius. This will be his third time and last time for a while opposing Pluto. So there's going to be some wrapping up stuff. It'll be the last one, but it is all about fire, power, war, aggression. It's a big deal, and that's what I'll be talking about next week. So I'm going to leave that till then. Let's get into this week and Neptune. So as always, Mercury is going to go conjunct with Neptune. That means meet at the exact degree on the 16th. This is happening in Aries. We've been building toward this energy. So it's not like that day we just all of a sudden get this wow kabang of this energy, right? We've been feeling it already, but this is the day when it's going to be most intense. So it's not like it'll come out of the blue, but it is going to be bigger on this day. As always, look to see where Aries is in your natal chart. I get people asking me this literally every week, sometimes multiple times a week, how to make sense of this information. One, we're going to all get hit with this information in a sort of general way in our lives, and most of us will know it when we feel it. But if you want more clues about how it's going to affect you, you want to look in your natal chart and find what house is Aries, because that's going to tell you a little bit more about what area of life you should be expecting this energy in, okay? I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, reach out, book a reading, and I promise you, you'll understand your natal chart after we work together. So moving on. This Mercury-Neptune meetup is all happening in the very early degrees of Aries. Aries is being assertive, but it's also, let's be real, aggressive. All right. It's ruled by Mars. And at the time of this conjunction, Mars is still going to be in Cancer, where he's not happy, he's petulant, he's tantrumy. So the host of Aries is not going to be giving any kind of good support to this conjunction, and that's unfortunate. But yeah, we want to take into account that Aries energy. It's a good time to be assertive, right? But it may be more extreme than that as well. So it's important to keep that in mind. Just to give you a reminder about the Neptune in Aries energy, I talked about this a while back, and undoubtedly we'll be talking about this more when Saturn enters Aries. But just to give you a kind of refresher, on April 12th in 1861, the very first shots of the Civil War were fired. Neptune entered Aries the very next day. In fact, I think it wasn't even 24 hours later, okay? That's what we're talking about. That's the kind of energy that Neptune in Aries brings. A war over ideology, right? A war over philosophy. Neptune is spirituality, philosophy, ideology, those kind of words. And Aries is war, right? One of the things Aries is. Sorry, all you Aries rising sun and moon people out there. But one of the things is, it's battle and war that can be noble or not. So we got the Civil War. We're in that energy again for the first time since then. So I just wanted to set that backdrop. Neptune and Aries alone, we may find that we are really going to battle in some way for what we believe. What else is Neptune? He is illusion, delusion, lies. Neptune can bring some difficult stuff. Of course, he's also creative energy and spirituality. It just depends on what side of him we're getting. Now, we're going to bring Mercury. Mercury is what? Our minds, our intellect, our thoughts. I know all those mean basically the same thing, but you get what I'm saying. Communication, travel. And the ancient astrologers said that Mercury ruled what happened in the marketplace. So that's financial interactions and marketing and all of that kind of stuff. Anything social media, that's both communication and in some way marketing for some people, right? So you can see Mercury's bringing a whole lot of really important stuff to this Neptune in Aries picture. The best spin we can put on this combination, and my writer and creative friends out there, listen up, because there is a good spin. Yeah. The best thing we can say about this is Neptune and Mercury coming together can be truly inspired ideas, creative inspiration, and in Aries, a passionate creative inspiration, right? So all of you who are working in creative fields, especially that involve Neptunian kinds of, or that fall into Neptunian kinds of categories, like fiction writers, screenwriters, actors, painters, all of those people who work in the realm of what's not true, right? You guys could get inspired, passionately inspired. That's Aries. In this artistic way, that's Neptune. And you could be writing and communicating and doing all of that stuff connected to all of this creative inspiration. So it could be brilliant. The problem is Neptune and Mercury together spell confusion. All right. That is the main energy that I think almost any astrologer is going to assign to these two planets coming together. Neptune is underwater. He's confusion. We don't see clearly. And Mercury's our brain, right? I don't see clearly. in my brain. That is confusion, right? So, yes, there could be all of this creative inspiration, but you might find that it takes you a while to actually sort through it. Like, that doesn't mean it's not inspired, but that passion you feel at the beginning to, like, oh, I'm going to write this book, paint this painting, do whatever it is, launch this marketing campaign. I'm so inspired. Yeah, you're probably also confused. You may not even know it because Neptune is kind of those rose-colored glasses where everything looks great and amazing, and then the glasses come off and you're like, oh, wait a minute. I need to fix some problems here. Okay. So that is the main energy, confusion. The problem is in Aries, we're going to fight for that confusion. Right? So here's the thing. Let me just, some examples. Let's say that this is happening in your seventh house of relationships. Neptune in the seventh house is always a problem because talk about the rose-colored glasses. This is like you kiss the prince, or you think you do, and then you find out he's the frog. It's kind of like the opposite of the fairy tale. Whatever that kiss a frog, he turns into a prince thing. Yeah, this is the opposite. You kiss who you think is a prince, take off the glasses, and yeah, that's a big old toad sitting in your palm right there that you got your lips all over. Pretty, right? Passion, though, you were doing a passionate, like with tongue kind of kiss with the frog. Okay, I know, too gross, too much, move on. But that's what it could be, right? You could find that you're really, really passionate about somebody. And then as Mercury pulls away from Neptune and we get some clarity, you might be like, oh, I could need to rethink some things about this relationship. If this is hitting you in the fourth house, if Aries is your fourth house sign, this could be some family dynamic, right? Where you're getting all fired up about something in your family interactions, and then you find out afterwards that you were the one who was confused. Fifth house is creativity and children. So we've already talked about a passionate art inspiration kind of thing that you then have to rethink and sort through. It doesn't mean that it was wrong. I mean, totally wrong. The inspiration may be very real. It's just kind of how you're going to articulate it or bring it into being might need to get worked out. Interactions with children would also fall in the fifth house. The 10th house is career. So you were passionate about a new project or passionate about a new job, or you go ready to pitch ideas to your boss or whoever it is. And later on, and you'll fight for those ideas. That's the problem with Aries, right? It's not that we're confused and have to work through something. It's that we are so willing to fight for that idea. So you're in with your boss and you're pitching it. Your boss is like, wait a minute, what though? You're like, no, we need to do this thing. And your boss is like, wait, what though? And you fight harder. And then in 3 days, you're like, uh-oh. I always picture that. Who was that? Scooby-Doo or something who was like, ruh-roh. Yeah, picture Scooby-Doo. You're going to have a Scooby-Doo moment. 11th house is interactions with your friends. 12th house is, this is all going to be happening probably behind the scenes, probably very privately for you. So you may be struggling emotionally or psychologically with this. So you get the idea. I know I should have probably just covered all the houses and I didn't, but you get the idea. It's going to be confusion, passion, inspiration that we're willing to fight for. Yeah, it's complex. Yeah. So anyway, that's the big deal. How do we deal with this? Hold back on the fighting. Right? Because there's no problem with the passion and the inspired ideas and all of this that you have to maybe iron out a little bit later. That's not really so problematic. What's problematic is how you're fighting to defend these confused ideas, right? So my advice to everybody, if you can just slow it down a little bit, bring it down a notch, bring down that heat level a notch, go for the mild instead of the super spicy, right? bring it down a notch and just give it a few days. Just give it a week, better, but even a few days is going to help you. So that's my suggestion. Aries, however, is impetuous. So you may find that you had told yourself, like, I'm going to take it easy. I'm going to tone it down a little. I heard what Kait, in all of her brilliant wisdom, had to say. And then you find afterwards, like, whoa, I fought pretty hard for that, even though my intention was not to be so strong so fast. Aries has that impetuous quality where you almost do it before you think. Yeah, Neptune's got your thinking confused anyway. So if you can, take it down a notch. And if you can't, just know that you may have some apologies and stuff to do later. All right? I don't know what to say. That's just how it's going to be. Mostly, I don't see, well, I don't know. Could it be really, really bad? Yeah, it could be. You could be apologizing for, it'll come off as like arrogant because of that Aries thing. So most of us aren't going to get hit with it where it's something we can't apologize for and redo. But I don't know. It's a difficult energy. It just is. All right. Then later this week, we've got something interesting happening. So I really think by the 19th, I think we're going to be in a better place with all of this. All right. Let me tell you why. Mars will have moved into Leo, and he's going to be making an exact, to the degree, trine, the most positive aspect to Neptune at 0 degrees of Aries. Mars rules Aries. So now Mars is in a better sign for him. He likes Leo because they're both about fire. He's out of the water of Cancer. Thank goodness, y'all. And he's out till he goes all the way back around the zodiac. So all that muck we've been in since his retrograding stuff, he's out of the water. Yay! That alone is something to celebrate. He's making a very positive aspect now to Neptune. So all of that creativity, now we've got the fire of inspiration, all of that spirituality, that fighting for our beliefs, but now as a noble warrior, because Mars is in good condition and he's sending his beams over to Neptune, right? So fighting for just causes, the noble warrior, the artist who's inspired and passionate, but in a good way, because at this point, Mercury's not far away from Neptune. Mercury's at 2 degrees in Aries, but he's separating. So the confusion, we don't have Neptune confusion smack in our brains. And we've got this support from Mars. So by the end of the week, all of that chaos that may have come from the Mercury-Neptune conjunction, all of that confusion that we fought for, that now we can sort it out. And now, oh my gosh, artists, spiritual people, and just people who are inspired in whatever way, right? Because you don't have to be an artist or a guru to be using this energy or feeling and being able to make positive use of this Neptune energy. This is just inspiration in whatever. And again, that's why I say, look at the house it's in. You may be inspired with your friends, and the flow and the soul union between your friends is just dynamic. In the second house of money, right? This may be that you're getting incredible creative ideas about how to increase your income. In the 9th house of publication, higher education, foreign travel, again, inspiration in those areas of your life, right? So, 6th house people, diet and exercise. Whoa, you're like, I got this. I can start my new routine that's going to make me really healthy and really vibrant. Okay. So it doesn't have to be just inspiration for creative people or for people who work in spirituality or who define spiritual activity or practices as the main part of their life. This is for everybody. 7th house people, this is now romance, right? Romance with passion and less confusion. Okay. So it does get better. I think if you can just keep a lid on it a little bit until the 19th, I think you're golden, right? But yeah, there's some stuff to get through before we make it to the end of the week. I am positive. I wish I could say other, but I'm positive a lot of us are going to be facing some, oh my goodness. Anyway, thank you so much. That's what I've got for you this week. And I really appreciate you being here. I really appreciate you sharing the podcast. It would help me out so, so much to get the numbers up a little bit. And go over to Substack, subscribe. It's free. Oh, and I'm still doing that collaboration with Jackie, and she is over there doing horoscopes. If you want to see what's going to be coming up for the next month in that sexy, spicy arena. Okay, so everything will be down in the show notes, links and all of that. And yeah, until next week, go out and seize the energies of the stars. This is my wish for you always. And until then, bye.